G'day everyone, welcome back to Bulwarks and Bulldust. We're here today with three-time Jane Tate Memorial Trophy winner, Annika Thomson from Ocean Crusaders. Hey Annika.
Hi Lee, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. We're here on the mighty Jaybird. Let's get Annika in the captain's chair and get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Bulwarks and Bulldust. We're here at Garage 25 at the Boatworks, and we're here to welcome today Annika Thomson from Ocean Crusaders and Jaybird Racing, sitting in the captain's chair from Melfi Designs. G'day, Annika.
Thank you so much to be here. It's really nice. Thank you.
Well, we'll start off where everyone's been talking about it lately, right, in the world of yachting. Congratulations to you and the whole Jaybird team, but specifically to you, the first three-time winner of the Jane Tate Memorial Trophy in the last Sydney to Hobart yacht race. I'm sure you're not sick of hearing it. Was it a good experience?
It was a tough Hobart this year. No hiding that. I had a really, really good team though. And for the first time, I had the team on board that I could open the boat up and show the world a little bit what she can do. So tough Hobart, good crew. Made us 9th over the line, so very, very proud with that. And being the first female over the line is just very honourable and humble, especially when I had two other female skippers on boats over 50 foot. So I actually had competition this year. It's good. It's good. The more females we can have that they're taking the helm of the bigger boats.
I obviously had a bit of a personal stake in your results, so thank you so much for looking after my fiancée all the way to Hobart. I really appreciate it. Thanks for bringing her home nice and safe. So let's talk about the boat quickly. Obviously, the boat itself is a story, right? Boat number 2 with the TP52 series, is that correct?
Yes.
And refit from top to bottom, rescued from a swing mooring in Pittwater.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of a background on the boat, because she's obviously going really well.
Oh, she's a dream come through. As you maybe know by now, we are running a charity. It's called Ocean Crusaders. And when you run a charity, you do not have much money. But you have time for some reason. As human beings, we do have time. So we were looking at buying a Tiana 50-footer, something big that we can live on with headroom for my beautiful husband and tall husband, Ian Thomson. But we'd still like something fast. And as soon as you go to a racing yacht, you don't have headroom. So when we flew down, Thomas saw this boat online for 30 grand, called up the seller and said, "Did you forget the zero?" No? Okay, deposit it on, we're coming tomorrow and have a look. Yeah, and from there on, the deck was totally gone. We took a good think about it, and in the way home, in the car on the way home, we said, "Yeah, let's do this. We're not that old, and we can do this." So we bought her.
Really good upcycling project, that one, right? So and to be getting the results out of it, and it's been pretty inspirational to watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
and it was diesel out, deck off, rig out. Look, basically it was everything, and a lot of sanding.
It's a lot of sanding. A lot of sanding and a lot of building. I've been so happy to work with one of the industry leaders, Gurit, because I didn't have a clue. I'm a professional skipper. I have been working with boats. We know what we want, but I didn't know how to build them, especially not carbon. So getting in touch with Gurit and having them and their technical engineering team, and with the original designer, Alan Andrew, design and then manufacture the drawings for the new deck was gold. Wherever I had, okay, what am I going to do here? I got the run through with the technicians at Gurit, and we built it. So we did all the work ourselves, but having that very talented leaders in the background in this industry. It was very helpful.
It's a pretty good learning experience then, because I know one of Tomo's nicknames for you is the Queen of Carbon, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's fun.
Yeah,
I love it.
awesome. So just changing tack slightly, no pun intended. We've just been through a natural disaster of sorts here in Queensland. I think we can all agree that it was well forecasted, a long way out, took a long time to come in, and probably thankfully was probably mildly over forecasted as well, but it was still a tropical cyclone at one stage. What are you seeing off the back of that? Obviously with the Ocean Crusaders charity, you've been doing a lot of cleanup in rivers, Brisbane River, all around the place. What have you seen over the last couple of weeks?
A lot of debris, and I feel very sad for everyone that did lose homes and property in the floods, and also if they lost power and other things. So I feel for them. We haven't seen so much flood debris as we did in 2022 after the cyclone.
Sorry, just cut across you. In terms of flood debris, obviously natural plastic.
Yeah, more what 2022 floods. You can clearly see there was people's boxes with children clothes and whatever you have under your house that you store for another day come out, and we saw that all the way up to Gari, Fraser Island, scattered everywhere. We saw the big industrial sheeting of polystyrene roofing and that coming out. We haven't seen that yet, and going out. We have been out on the Brisbane River. Yes, we have seen pontoons, so we've been seeing them, but I actually think that is a little bit of a hangover on the 2022 because the pontoons looks very bad and shaken already. So I think that they have just been left a little bit unattended in the Brisbane River for that. Been just spending the weekend over on Mulgump and Moreton Island, and it was horrific to see the amount of plastic that was up there. But again, it was just the amount of what with day-to-day rubbish, what I call street rubbish and ship's rubbish, that comes out. So there were water bottles, polystyrene, hard and soft plastic that come out. And because the waves have pounded, and it's probably the same down here on the Gold Coast, have pounded and taken the layers of sand away, it have unraveled a lot of old sins. We actually find a margarine tub with expiry date February 1993.
Wow.
Perfectly conserved. The margarine was not perfectly, but the plastic and the tub was, you could clearly see.
I don't know. You'd probably still be able to eat the margarine. I think.
Probably.
It may taste better.
Yeah.
I was doing a little bit of research, and we're all consumers, so we're all responsible for this. What tends to happen, I think we all try to make ourselves feel good about it because we all tend to hand the problem down the line. We've got, I think, 3.5 million tonnes of plastic waste annually in Australia, I think was the data I saw. And a lot of it originally was, if it's collected, it seems to only go 3 places that I can sort of see from our research. It goes into landfill, it goes into, perhaps they burn it, or they attempt at recycling it. Actually, the 4th place, probably predominantly I should have mentioned, is it goes into the oceans and riverways and all the waterways. I mean, but that's I guess not intended, but it happens as a byproduct, and it's a massive byproduct of the problem. What do you think just people like me could do to help in the future to try and minimise this? And that's my first question to you. And I guess the second question, you have big groups like APCO doing new policies around packaging, a lot of big groups talking about things, and I noticed a $60 million investment by the federal government into APCO. I'm sure groups like yours could do a lot with some of that funding. There's a lot more to be done at grassroots level. Yeah. So I guess that would be my second question. How do you see that funding model, and what are they actually doing with that kind of dough? Yeah,
what are they doing? What you can do as a consumer is we have the power as consumers, and we have the power of people that work in manufacturing. We have, I'm 50 this year, and when I started consuming, and you start consuming about 14, 16, 18 there, and you saved your money. I saved my money, had it in the wallet, and I went out and bought something. Money get less in my wallet, and then I go home. Now we don't have that. It's on our fingertip. Our phone have our credit cards, and we just go click, and it arrives in the post. We don't see that we're spending money. So it's easier. It's much easier for the newer generation to not care about and not see how much they're spending. But what we should do is look at the companies that we're consuming with. And that's what my biggest thing, like we will never stop as a human being to consume, but put pressure on the companies. Go in the fine print and look at their environmental plans and what they're doing for the planet. If they're working with humanitarian groups, if they're working with Ocean Crusaders or other charities, what are they doing for the planet to offset? You can offset your carbon, you can offset your plastic, you can do all these things. And if a company doesn't do that, you will see, should I really give them money? If they don't do anything good with charities, do they care about the other regulations that we have around the world? How's the industry? Where do they manufacture? Is the child label there? Are they paying the right rates? And if they don't have this in place, you shouldn't probably buy from them. And that's putting them back as
So do your research.
Do your research, and that's where it comes back to buying your yacht, buying your sails, buying your dinner. Make sure that you're working, that you're buying from companies that actually do the right thing for the future.
Yeah, if I could just pick you up on that point and add to that, with the research that we did around the $60 million that goes to APCO, which is the Australian Packaging Covenant Organisation, and I don't want to just single them out, and we're all part of the problem, but if you look around some of their press release and around some of the dialogue by some of the big players in retail, and you've got your Aldi's and Woolies and Coles and Arnott's and all of these groups. I mean, every comment seemed to be around, they were very much about platitudes. We're committed to working in partnership. Yeah. We remain committed to achieving the packaging targets as part of our ambition to become the most sustainable supermarket. Yeah. We're working hard to reduce our use of virgin plastic. Yeah. We're focused on growing greener. What the hell are any of them actually doing?
No. Probably nothing.
No. So we're calling Bulldust on that?
Yeah, we pulled Bulldust on that. I will go into the bottle return, bottle recycling scheme that we have in Australia. Do you know who owns that?
No.
The big companies themselves.
So
you have Coca-Cola, you have every one of them. They have it. So you're paying 10 cents more for something, and then they keep it in their charity. There are a charity organisation, non-for-profit organisation that they pull this money up into, and they just give it back if you give it back the bottle. Otherwise, that sits there. And if you go in on that board as well, the board is very impressive. Lots of very educated people, and they're also working with education out to schools. I have never heard of it. We tried to contact them to if they want to work with us. They didn't want to give us a nickel or a cent. If they recycle, even Australia, I haven't got the numbers. I tried to get my numbers, but I could get the amount of plastic we're putting into bottles in this country. And that is about 65 billion bottles that we produce. That is 5 to 6 bottles a day per person. And people wonder, how can we consume that? Yes, look at the supermarket before the cyclone, there was none left. When we all have perfect water in the tap that we can put in a big container, we bought the bottles. So I understand that. If we recycled 25% of that, it's a lot of money that are owned back to the bottle manufacturers. Imagine if the government had that money. if the government dared saying to Coca-Cola, no, you can't do this in Australia. We're going to look after the bottle scheme, and we're going to take the 10 cents. And when the recycle, that should generate, first of all, a lot of money for the government, and it also will be a better scheme because the government actually have a good sentence to get rid of them 10 cents back to the people.
So not only are we paying the extra 10 cents, but we're feeding it straight back into the manufacturer's pocket.
Yeah.
Wow, it's incredible.
There's no circular system. I mean, sure, once these things are collected, we all feel good. Oh, I put my recycling in. I went to the recycling bin. Off it goes. See you later. But nothing's being done with it. It's either going into landfill, it's being incinerated, and they say, yeah, but that's a better choice than landfill, incinerating into the atmosphere. And there's very little work and research around, obviously plastics, there's multiple types of plastics, and once they're mixed and they're sullied, it's very difficult to deal with them. But it can be done if we've focused on it. And there's technologies that can actually use the energy that's generated from the plastics that can be then used to service more recycled plastics coming through. So very little of it gets recycled. So the problem is not just the collection, it's behind the collection.
Absolutely.
And government isn't investing in any of it to try and deal with the problem. And apart from shipping perhaps 30% of it offshore and sending it to poorer Southeast Asian countries from here, obviously China doesn't take it anymore. But we're pushing on that down the line, and these countries haven't got a means to actually process that properly. Yeah. And then I'm sure a lot of it ends up back into the ecosystem because of that.
Yeah. I did actually start my Cert 3 in polymer fabrication here. So I wanted to know the industry from the back. And the first problem is that we don't have, as you say, an ingredients list of the plastic. We don't actually know what's there. The little triangle with a number in it to identify the plastic is made in the mold. The mold has it already. So whatever you put through the injection machine can be anything, but it comes out with that number.
Yeah, sure.
It shouldn't be that, but it can be.
Are you saying they're misleading what's actually coming out of the process?
It's one of the things that you don't know if it is a fully true polyethylene pure. It may be something else in it because it doesn't have an ingredients list, so you don't really know, and that's what makes it hard to recycle. And many, especially in the food industry and other things, they have a different filament on top of each other, so it's really hard to recycle. They are getting a recycle facility built as we speak on the border to New South Wales. I can't remember. I haven't been doing my research the last year because I've been focusing more on yacht racing, and so it could be already in process, but I don't know that there was a recycle centre built here in New South Wales that should be able to take our recycle a little bit more. We have small ones in the back of Brisbane region, but no one that can handle the bulk. So no more resources into the infrastructure that needed for a first world country should be good, so we don't just ship away our problem.
And we pay for that, I believe too. We pay these countries to take our rubbish.
Yeah, we do. And that's so wrong because they can't handle it either. It's just too much of everything. We need to downscale. We actually need to stop. And that's very hard. But if everyone does something a little bit every day, we can actually reduce it. But we need to
from a human
stop.
perspective, it's all very, very recent, really, isn't it? I mean, it's been building over the last, couple of decades, I guess. But that in human terms is still quite recent, and certainly water bottles and all of these things. I mean, this phenomenon of walking around with water bottles and hydrating yourself, it's a fairly recent phenomenon. And where do they all go? But why, as a civilization and as a community, don't we take care of our own rubbish? If we create it, why aren't we capturing it and dealing with it properly? And they say that, obviously recycled materials are more expensive to process than virgin materials, But if you do enough of something, it starts to become cost competitive. So someone's just got to bite the bullet and get on with it and deal with it, and they will have a commercial operation, I think, that would be very, very viable. And even if it wasn't, so be it. It's a cost of how we live and to ensure that our environment's taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, not everything needs to be a profit centre.
Absolutely. And for me, I'm from a little tiny country called Sweden up north, and we do not have landfill. We cannot handle that because we don't have the space for it. So we have, for the last 30 years, I would say, don't get me right on the numbers there, but burnt our rubbish. And that does not cost the environment, because the same as you have on your coal burners here, you have filters, so it minimize everything. And we actually have the gas, methane gas that comes off it to run our buses in the city. And it's creating heat, so we can have it as a heating up because it's cold up there.
Yeah.
So, and I did a couple of years ago now, probably 5 years ago, I talked to a engineer up in the coal mines, and he said it's very little tweaking that needs to be done to a coal burner to get it to burn plastic. And plastic is actually giving off more energy than coal.
Yes.
So politics again, and who is going to have the money?
I think it's a pyrolysis, I think, is the process. You can break down the chain of the plastic back to oils and gases. You can burn it. You can capture the byproduct of all that. You can use it for energy, and they're the things we need to seriously look at in this country as we move forward into the future with looking at all sorts of technologies to power our future.
Yeah.
Plenty to be done, eh?
Plenty to be done.
Yeah. Let's change it up into something a little bit more.
Well, I guess for me, I wanted to sort of wind the clock back a bit. Ian and yourself, at least 10 years ago, were out there through the South Pacific, having a wow of a time, seeing some unfortunate things, seeing a lot of great things, and wearing my other hat as an editor of Sail World. I got to follow your journey and look through things. But specifically, what we wanted to do here was look back into that wonderful trip that you had, or trips, the whole journey. But more specifically, look at things like the Pacific Gyre, look at things like the Marshall Islands, look at things like when you arrived in Tahiti and just like, what's this? It looked more like Port Klang in Kuala Lumpur than it did Tahiti. Well, it certainly did to my mind. Can you take us for a little bit of a journey on your wonderful South Pacific saga?
Yes. Take me back there now. It's an absolutely stunning world up there. And again, now we're moving into a country that haven't been educating for that long. They haven't had plastic for that long, and they definitely do not have the resources to deal with it. Everything that gets shipped in has to get shipped off, because it's not, especially on the small atolls in the Tuamotus and Marshall Islands, have nothing more than steep cliffs, and it's very rugged coastline. So the most of theirs they can't process plastic trash there. And what Ian was saying, 10 years ago, they were drinking out of it, not 10 years, but they drank out of a coconut, throwed it over the shoulders, and that was not a problem because it become part of the nature again. Now they're doing the same with plastic. So not having the education, and we can't say that they need to educate themselves because they don't have the system. What we can do the best if we go and visit these beautiful places is to not accept the plastic. Don't buy it. Don't leave it there. So if you go on a shore, Fiji, Tahiti, they have really good waters. You can put that up. Or if you're there visiting, we were lucky that we had a water maker on board. So we were very happy. We made our own water. We don't have to buy any water. We make sure that we had our own bags when we go offshore and shops. And just make sure that you do conscious shopping and choices when you go there to minimize your footprint and their trash because they can't handle it. Arriving in Bora Bora, the lagoon was full of trash. And we go ashore and say, what happened? Oh no, it's rain. It's just the rain. It's just when the rain is here. It goes away tomorrow. And that's, you have to,
don't see that in the brochure, do you?
Yeah, no.
No, you don't see that.
And you have to think back that they don't have the memories we have because they don't have the education. Like our parents have gone to school. We know that we have had a long time of learning. They haven't had that. So we need to, just work with them as good as we can and minimise our footprints when we're there.
That beautiful Gatorade water of the lagoon at Bora Bora with floating rubbish in it.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
That's what we saw. The next day it was gone.
It all just disappears.
Just disappeared beyond the environment.
John Clark once again with
Outside of the environment.
outside of the environment.
Yes.
Oh my God, how good was he?
He was
and
awesome.
Sadly missed. But yes, I think it is very apt that a lot of people are into cruising to go on the escapes, to go find the hidden world, and go back yesteryear and not be around telephones and noise and chaos and everything else. But I think the big message is always, well, yes, that's great, and the boats will get you there, and you've got more battery life water makers, better sails, faster passage making, all of that. But just remember what you are when you get there.
Yeah.
I think that's the big takeaway, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And that's what comes with all your travel. I have not bought a water bottle for the last 20 years because I have my water bottle. I just fill it up wherever I go. And even if you go to, say, Bali, you shouldn't drink the water there. But most of the hotels or the villa that you stay in or whatever you go, they have this big water container so you can fill up for the day. And so at least try to minimise it.
You mentioned earlier that everybody should be involved in doing what you do. Is there an opportunity for people to join you and join your Crusaders in helping? Have you got anything you could sort of tell the listeners about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just jump online now and come. We have a lot to do with the past Alfred cleanups now for the next couple of weeks, and it comes up in Brisbane and Ipswich, and we are planning to do, for everyone cruising and everyone that wants to do something later, we are planning to do something in the south, in the islands, the Cumberland Islands, to do a flotilla of some sort in September, October. To go to the islands that no one cleans and get that rubbish out, and many hands makes light work. So if have an eye out for our website on that events that comes out, or even if people want to do their own little cleanups, they can always put it on the high tide line, but we need to know. So we are on our way to create something that can clean up our Great Barrier Reef Islands with a little impact as we can, and we want to have the cruises with us. So we need sponsors, and we need the volunteers to do it.
And your website address is?
oceancrusaders.org.
.org, yeah.
I can definitely say from experience that it's a bit of a view-changing exercise going on today with Ocean Crusaders. I remember a day that I did with you guys in the Cooma River, and we pulled 11 or 12 of those IBC 1,000-litre water tanks out of the water. They didn't get there by accident.
No.
And it's really heartbreaking to see what we're doing to the environment. And I think we all should be doing anything we can to try and help the situation. But
I think it's incumbent too on some of the manufacturers to maybe be responsible. I know there's been a lot of programs in Europe for collection of packaging at the point of purchase. They tend to come and go. They fail, but it's better than nothing. But I guess I'd also be interested to know how you deal with, because you take on the problem, right? You're scooping up all this gunk, and then it's your problem. We've all handballed it to you.
Yeah.
What do you do with it all?
Yeah, it's really hard because now the government in Queensland have really hard for transporting tyres. So we have a yard full of tyres that we pulled out of the waterway. We pull out drums of oil that comes out and different grease, and we just pile it up, and then the council actually have to come and collect it in our yard because we can't leave it to the on the landfill.
And you hope that it doesn't all go back around the circle again?
Yeah, we hope,
A bit of trust involved there, but...
It's very much trust involved in there.
So what would your message to government be? Because, we can drive a bit of sentiment with consumers, we can all do better, and we can stop it at the point of purchase and make those decisions. But how do we leverage government? How do we put more pressure on government to make some real serious change? Because there's some big chunks of money being thrown around, and they really need to be diverted into areas that are going to have maximum effect. Yeah. And I would have thought that's fixing the problem right here, right now. That's in the waterways and dealing with it.
Absolutely. No debris to sea should go out there, and making it easier for people to recycle. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of illegal dumping, as we have mentioned, of tyres, different oils, different things, that big and bulky that people don't know. They are close to the waterways, and a high tide come and they go out. So making it easier to recycle, and even to the government, buy local. I know that Gold Coast had a big contract going a couple of years ago with bitumen, and we had a perfect recycle facility here in Gold Coast. They went with an overseas company because they were a little bit cheaper. And this bitumen company here was recycling tyres and go back into tarmac. And heartbreaking when the government makes decisions like that just based on money, or someone they know maybe is someone putting hands in pockets.
Call it Bulldust on that one. Yeah. You're saying a lack of transparency and some dodgy decision making in government. When did all that start?
Yeah, when did that start? So make more local decisions from the government as well, because if you go through and have a look at it, that was not a good decision. Making 1973, MARPOLs started under International Maritime Organization, and you're not allowed to put in any circumstances plastic in the water anywhere in the world. So how can our cities and rivers
be full of it?
We are breaking the international shipping law. So if a ship can't do it, how can we on the shore do it? It shouldn't be there. It should be better managed, because I call it street rubbish. Most of it, what we're picking up is street rubbish, and it shouldn't be there from the first place.
Yes. It's breaking the rules of humanity, really. We're just basically, doing whatever in our own backyard all the time, except it's moving into the house as well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, like Wally said, I think it's incumbent on everyone to do more, and the opportunities are there to help out and to do better in everyday life. So jump on oceancrusaders.com.au. .org. See, I got that one wrong.
That's all right.
Let me go again. Oceancrusaders.org. Oceancrusaders.org, and also check out Annika Thomson and the whole Jaybird Racing crew on the Rolex Spirit of Yachting that was just published on YouTube last week. So congratulations again on all your results. Thank you for coming on Bulwarks and Bulldust, Annika Thomson. Great to have you here.
Thank you. And great to be in a Melfi chair. They have designed the things on Jaybird too.
You're one of those.
I feel at home.
You need a couple of them, one down the nav desk if you're fine.
Yeah.
The couch is more comfortable than the Navi desk. Yeah. So Tom was a little bit upset.
We'll see what deal we can do.
Yeah, see if we can scrape something together. If we do really well, you're on.
Yeah, good.
I just had so much fun with Annika on the show. Thanks so much for being with us. Here's your hat.
Oh, thank you. Sweet.
No problem. So good to hear about what you've got planned in the upcoming races as well. Good luck for that. Oceancrusaders.org. Get involved. I've had a great time. I've learnt so much being out working with these guys on the rivers. So get involved, volunteer, get into it.